21-year-old April Harrington is suing her ex-boyfriend, Fred Badman, for selling her belongings. Fred says he did it because April stole from his child.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, case number 193 on the calendar in the matter of Harrington versus Badman. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Harrington, according to the complaint that I read, you and the defendant were in a relationship and lived together for a period of time. When you moved in together, you took some of your stuff and put it in a storage unit. The storage unit was in Mr. Badman's name.
That's right.
And he paid for it.
No.
That's what he says. There came a time when the two of you parted company, a day that you will tell me about briefly, and it is your claim that he got rid of the stuff in your storage unit, which you wanted back. Mr. Badman acknowledges that he emptied the storage unit. Some of your stuff he gave to the Salvation Army. Some of your furniture he still has. And the reason he did that was that when you moved out, you took a substantial amount of property that did not belong to you, that belonged to him and to his daughter, and he has a counterclaim. How long did you live together?
He moved in with me in February of 2004. He had a dog, and I had a dog, and I was only allowed one dog at my apartment complex. Therefore, he moved into his own place, and about a few weeks after him living there, he begged me to move in, told me how much cheaper it would be.
Just listen to me.
Okay.
This is not a 1,000-page tome that we're going to do here. When did you move in together?
May of 2004.
And when did you put your property in storage?
The end of May, I believe.
The day she moved in. There wasn't room in my apartment for many of the things.
What did you put in storage?
I put living room furniture, dishes. My parents had started collecting teddy bears for me when I was a child. A futon, a bed, clothes, shoes, dresser, desk combination, a glass mirror, and my diploma, important tax information papers, all sorts of things.
And when did you separate?
July 25th, 2004.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding your moving out.
I had found out that he had been cheating on me with her. That is his baby's mother. We were going to court for custody of his child, me and him together, and I found out that he was cheating on me. I came home from work early, asked him, you know, why are you doing this? Can we please talk about this? He then shoved me into a dresser, and I dislocated my finger. The police then told him that he should leave the apartment for a few days while I got my things together. Within those 3 days, he came back and broke in his own door, busted the lock off, and I moved out the very next day because I wasn't safe living there with no lock on the door. I took the things that belonged to me, and only me. The only thing that I have of him are some pornography tapes that I did not bring with me because of the security on the airplane, and I didn't want them flashing about. They're kind of disgusting.
What'd you take them for?
They were actually in a box of movies of mine.
When did you try to get your property back?
Right after I moved out, I went to the storage unit to see. I had a key to it because my things were in it. I did pay for it, and he had changed the locks.
Now I'll hear you, sir.
No, when we did break up, it was because of we were arguing about, she was accusing me of fooling around with her. We were just friends. We've always stayed friends because we have a child in common. So I didn't want to argue, so I left the home. She called the police. We went down there. She decided she didn't want to charge say anything because she told the police that I beat her up or whatever. So then we went to the police station.
You did. You broke my
anything. She did not file the report. Anything. She said.
Don't say anything when he's testifying. You know how quiet he was when you were telling me your story? Mm-hmm. I read your complaint very carefully. You came home and you wanted to talk to him. That's what you said in your complaint.
Correct.
He was sleeping.
No, he was up.
It says, I'm reading from your complaint, things were going terribly for us, and he was served with an eviction notice. On July 25th, not June, on July 25th, 2004, everything came to a head. We were in an argument. I came home from work to talk to Fred. He was sleeping, and I tried to get him to talk to me. That's what you said.
Okay, that's fine.
And when you want to talk to somebody and they're sleeping and they don't want to communicate with you, you get angry.
No, I was not angry.
You weren't angry.
No, I was not.
No, you weren't angry.
I was upset.
You were living with somebody. You think he was fooling around with the mother of his child. According to you, you came home. You found him sleeping. You went in there and he didn't want to talk to you. And so he broke your finger.
He did.
Ms. Harrington, I have no question that your finger got broken. Mm-hmm. I don't think he broke it.
He wrote it in his report to the police I actually have it.
Oh,
if
I'd
you'd
like to see that.
it.
He said he broke your finger. I'd like to see that.
Yes, it
I
does say that.
squeezed her hand. And that was after she went and punched the wall
It's
about 20
highlighted in
times.
yellow.
Your Honor. On the report, it says that there's no injuries to anybody. She didn't report any injuries to the police.
No,
right
there were none marked.
I just wanted her to leave me alone. April started to poke me on the right side of my body with her finger. I told her to leave me alone. She continued to poke me with her finger, saying, "Stop being a blank jerk and talk to me." You know, you live long enough, you could practically write the scenario. I want to talk to you. Leave me alone. I just want to sleep. I don't want to talk to you now. Leave me alone. I want to talk to you. Then you say, I rolled over and grabbed her hand. I cannot remember which I had grabbed, but it was her bad hand, and she started crying. April asked me why I grabbed her like that, and I said, because you keep poking me.
I wasn't poking him. I really wanted to talk about it. I was very upset.
Listen to me. I got it. You just told me you weren't upset.
I would no.
No, listen to me. A moment ago, you said I came home from work. I just wanted to talk. I wasn't upset. Listen to me, Miss Harrington.
Your Honor, I wasn't angry. I was very upset. I was crying, hurt. I was not angry.
Then what I'm telling you is, you upset, angry, whatever it was, you can't put your hands on somebody like this. And if they don't like it, which she said, you gave me the report. So you want to vouch for the truth of this report.
No, just
the part that you like.
No, that's not true. If
Just
you
the
read
part-
my
listen,
statement also.
I'm reading his statement.
Okay.
That's what you gave me.
If you keep reading it, he also
listen.
pushed me in the face and kicked me off the bed. And
Listen to me. He wanted you to leave him alone.
so it's okay if he kicks me. And
You shouldn't have put your hands on him. Miss Harrington, you put your hands
I
on
wasn't
somebody.
hurting him. I was.
Listen to me. You can't put your hands on somebody and continue to irritate them and expect them to do nothing.
That's fine.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He gave them to me willingly.
No, I don't believe that. Madam, you just said to me, that's a fib. Fib, because you just said to me I took him out of spite.
And later today,
What else did you do with the car?
I let April drive it.
And April wrecked the car.
Yes.
You don't mind my yelling at him, do you?
No, ma'am.
Yes.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. April Harrington says former live-in boyfriend Fred Badman sold her belongings after she moved out. Fred is countersuing, claiming April also stole from him.
What property of hers did you give away to the Salvation Army?
Things I gave away of hers, I went and retrieved all the stuff from the storage unit because I didn't want to pay
What
anymore
month
on
did
it.
you do that?
February 05, ma'am.
So you left it there for 6 months?
Many months I left it there.
She asked you for the stuff back.
I wanted my items back before I was going to give her anything. That's what I told her.
What items were they?
She took my entertainment stand, a bunch of movies.
Just a second. Entertainment stand. What does that look like, sir?
It's right here. And a tent. That's what I got pictures of.
I need a cup of coffee.
An entertainment stand, some movies.
Shh. Okay. I mean, this entertainment stand, did you put it together yourself?
Yes,
or
I did.
You put it together yourself?
Yes. I bought it from an appliance store years ago.
$69, you put it all together?
No, it was $300. It's a large entertainment stand.
I'm looking at it, sir. I got it.
Okay.
Let us say she took the entertainment stand. And she took
tent.
Did you take his tent?
No, I did not.
Did you take his entertainment stand?
He gave that to me because where he was moving had a big screen TV and he no longer needed it.
Oh.
Screen TV.
What else do you say she took of yours, sir?
She took my fishing tackle box, some PlayStation 1 video games. I don't know why she would have took my Jack, but Jack wasn't at my house no more. And she took my daughter's clothing and toys. Because when we were living together, we went out together, bought clothing and toys and many things for my daughter's birthday when she turned 1. And when she moved out, she figured I bought them, I'm taking them myself. So she took all the things that we bought together for my daughter.
All the things that she paid for?
Correct.
Good.
We paid for
Listen to me. All the things that you paid for.
Correct.
Listen to me, Miss Harrington. You may have paid for them, but once you make a gift, then they no longer belong to you.
Okay, I actually bought them because we were going to custody for the child.
I don't care. They were not... The clothes didn't fit you.
Correct.
The toys weren't for you to play with. And once you purchase something and give it away, the gift is complete. You no longer have ties to it. You cannot take it. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
So that was wrong.
I know that was wrong.
So why didn't you give them back?
I took them. out of spite, actually, honestly. And I did not give them back because we didn't talk anymore after that. He no longer, he wouldn't give me my things out of the storage unit. And
did he ask you for his daughter's things
No, he
back?
never. He gave them to me willingly.
No, I don't believe that. Madam, you just said to me, that's a fib. Fib, because you just said to me, I took them out of spite.
Ma'am,
listen to me, you can't have it both ways.
I asked them for them back out of spite, yes, and he did give them to me willingly. I went to his new house.
Sounds to me
after
like
he
you
moved.
two people did a lot of nasty things to each other.
Very true.
But, Mr. Badman, you cannot dispose of her property.
I kept...
You can go to court and seek to recoup your $29.99 TV stand. Or, if you say your tent, which she says she doesn't have, that you can do. But you cannot give away her property.
I kept the important things, Your Honor. I kept all of her...
Oh, good. That's what I want to see. What important things that you kept?
I kept all of the furniture that she had, and I kept important documents like her taxes that she's been wanting.
Good.
And
I'd like to see all of those
her
things,
GED
sir.
papers.
Perfect. Oh, this is going to be
Would you like
such
my list also?
I'm speaking.
Okay.
It's all junk, Your Honor.
So you have all of it?
Yes, I
in
have
your
all that.
house?
It's at my aunt's house.
Looks like it's in a barn.
It is. So I wasn't going to keep paying $85 a month for stuff.
You should have given it back to her.
I didn't want to do that when she's kept all my stuff.
You're a big baby, Mr. Badman. You're a baby.
All right.
Yeah, you're a baby. 5 days from today, she's going to pick up all of her properties to be put together in good order.
The place where my things are at, there are 13 cats, and the house itself and the barn itself is absolutely covered in feces
It's not true,
and
Your
urine.
Honor.
Miss Harrington, this is your choice. The property has been in Mr. Badman's possession now for over a year.
Correct.
You had a choice. Your choice was to immediately pursue him in court, just as you did now, a
He
month
told me
later.
he
Listen
sold
to
it.
me. A month later, and get your stuff.
He told me he sold it.
Well, then what brought you here a year later? Is not an answer.
He started leaving notes in my car, like trying to get in contact with me, so I went to see him, and he told me he sold them.
And I'm telling you, what you did was you waited for a year to pursue a matter in court, and now if you don't like the way the stuff has been, you're not going to get the cash for it. Okay. Now I want you to tell me what you gave to Salvation Army.
I gave 2 Rubbermaid bins of clothing that was all moldy and gross from sitting around forever. The little box of ceramic dishes that she had, a few of them items were broke, so I had to throw them in the garbage, and a little bag of teddy bears that were just junk, and that was it.
Mr. Badman, that junk is going to cost you $1,000.
For dishes?
They weren't broken when she left them, and the clothes weren't moldy when she left them, and the teddy bears were a collection of hers, and you had no right to dispose of them. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Now, what proof do you have that she took any of your property?
I don't really have proof of anything, because when I've broken up with girls before, and I've dealt with them stealing like a couple things, and I just wanted to move on with my life.
You mean this has happened to you before?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
A couple.
You're very unlucky in love. Are you together now with the mother of your child?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
You live together?
She's my fiancée, but she's going to be married soon.
Oh, wonderful. So, did a little bit
Getting my
backwards,
life
but
all straightened out, and everything's good, and just want to be with my child and get all this over with.
very good. My complaint against Miss Harrington is a complaint that I can put on your shoulders as well, sir. You had a legal remedy, right?
I didn't choose to do anything.
You chose to do nothing.
Right.
And you have no proof that she took anything.
And she has no proof of what was in the storage unit either. Your
Listen to me.
Of the few items that she does
You
have.
just told me what it was that you, as
what I
far
do
as I'm
have.
concerned, maliciously gave away, including something that she says was a teddy bear collection that she had for a very long time, and you said it was a bunch of junk teddy bears. It's not nice. That's irritating. You told me that. She didn't. I wouldn't even look at her list. I asked you what she gave to Salvation Army. So your counterclaim's dismissed. 5 days from today, she's going to pick up all of her stuff. And you owe her $1,000 for the stuff that you gave away wrongfully. That's all. Step out.
Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She was fun. I made a mistake, and I didn't think of other things, anything else other than what was in my pants.
We've been friends for 5 years. We've been together 4.5 years. We're getting married. He never cheated. He never cheated on her.
Don't get involved with people with the last name Badman.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Wamsley versus Martinez, step forward.
19-year-old Preston Wamsley is suing neighbor Audrey Martinez and her son, 17-year-old Chris Rivera, for the cost of a Mitsubishi Eclipse. Preston claims Chris totaled the vehicle.
You and the defendants are neighbors. This is her son, who is
Christopher Rivera.
17.
Yes.
And this is your mother. At some point, Christopher came to your house and asked if he could borrow your car. You knew he was 17. Mm-hmm. Now, is not an answer in court. Is fine outside here. You
yes,
say yes, no, whatever. Your Honor is a nice touch. He said he needed your car so he could take his sister to school.
Yes.
But that was a partial truth. You know what that means?
I'm not sure.
It means it was only partially true, half true. A little piece of it was true. Some of it was a lie. You didn't just want to take your sister to school. You did something else with the car, right?
Yes.
What else did you do with the car?
I gave my cousin a ride home.
And after you gave your cousin a ride home, then what else did you do with the car?
And I let April drive it.
Who's April?
Some girl.
Was she in the car?
Yes.
I didn't get that part of the story. How did April get into the car?
Because she was with my cousin.
How old is April?
17, I believe.
I want you to keep your voice up. You don't mind my yelling at him, do you?
No, ma'am.
Yes. And April wrecked the car.
Yes.
So, Mr. Wamsley, you expect Mrs. Martinez to pay for your car.
Yeah, and I was under the impression that he had a license.
I don't care whether you thought he had a license to drive race cars or drive a ship to the moon. You have no right to loan a car to a minor. None. Now, I read your complaint and you said, well, you thought he had a license because you saw him driving around in his mother's car.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
well,
Your
his
Honor.
mother wants to be a jerk and let him drive around in her car. That's her prerogative and her problem. But how do you know that his mother gave him permission to drive around in her car? Maybe he was just driving around in it when she wasn't home. Is that possible?
It could be, yes.
Sure. Does your son have a driver's license?
No, ma'am.
You ever give him permission to drive your car?
No.
You drive your mother's car?
Yes.
Where's your mother when you drive her car?
At home.
Does she know you drive her car?
No.
See what I mean? As a matter of fact, if he was injured while in your car that you let him borrow, she would sue you and would have collected. Do you understand? When you're dealing with a minor, and he's a minor, he's a stupid minor, and he's dishonest, right?
Yes.
You do not do anything that would require parental permission, because when you talk in terms of minors, they are referred to as minors in the law because they're too stupid to make their own judgments. He's too stupid to make his own judgment. And you gave him a weapon. Was April hurt?
No, ma'am.
Anybody hurt?
No, ma'am.
You are a very lucky man, sir. You should go home and thank your lucky stars that somebody isn't suing you and taking your house away. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Norma Villa is suing her sister, Alicia Vasquez, for car payments and money loaned. Norma says her sister has a history of financial hardship.
Your Honor, this is case number 202 on the calendar in the matter of Villa versus Vasquez. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Villa, the defendant is your sister.
That's correct.
And some time ago, she needed a car. You agreed to take out a loan in your name.
That is correct, Your Honor.
What kind of car did she buy?
It was a 99 volts Jetta
How much was the loan?
for $11,809, I believe.
So that was very nice of your sister. When did she take out the loan for you?
In 2003 of June.
And you made the payments on the loan?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Until when?
Until March of 2005.
What happened in March of 2005?
I lost my job, and I was fighting an appeal for unemployment, and so I couldn't make the payments after in April and May.
That's what your lawsuit wants?
Yes.
April and May's car payment, as well as a substantial amount of money because you claimed that your sister abandoned the car and destroyed it.
Yes, ma'am.
Caused a lot of damage to the car. Cost you $2,000 to put the car back into shape. You are now driving the car and paying it off.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You acknowledge that you didn't make April and May's car payment.
Yes, ma'am.
So you acknowledge that you owe that to your sister because somebody had to make it.
No, ma'am. What happened was I didn't have money to pay April and May, and she said that she would either try to help me or that if she couldn't help me in any way, then to go ahead and take the tires, because I kept telling her, what about my rims? And she said, if I can't help you, if you can't make the payment, then fork it. You know, I don't have money, and she said, I don't have money or anything, so go ahead and take the rims off.
Miss Vasquez, somebody paid April and May's car payment. It was not you.
Well, Your Honor, what happened was she didn't pay the April and May payment. Actually, she told me that the bank had reported the car stolen. So I lived with my mom.
Somebody has now made April and May's car payment if she's driving the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Who had the car in April?
I had the car in April.
Who had the car in May?
I did, ma'am. But
Just
I
a
also...
second. Listen to me. If you had the car in April and drove it, and you had the car in May and drove it, why should anybody else make the car payment for you? That was not your agreement with your sister.
Right, ma'am, but see, what happened was we were waiting for an appeal to go through for my unemployment so I can pay those payments.
I don't give a rat's behind about your appeal for unemployment. I asked you a very simple question. The very simple question was, if you drove the car in April and you drove the car in May, who should pay for the car?
Well, I should have paid for the car.
That's the answer. You drove it. You pay for it.
Well, now she's driving the car, so...
She's not asking you for anything else.
But I put a down payment on the vehicle, which was $800.
In 2003?
Yes, ma'am. But I already paid $6,000 on the vehicle.
How much a month did you pay for the car?
I paid $328 a month.
And how much do you think it would cost you to rent a car?
I have no idea, ma'am.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a homemaker now, ma'am.
Who supports you?
Unemployment.
How many children do you support?
I support 2.
Do they live with you?
One of them does.
Where does the other one live?
With his dad.
And who else lives in your home?
My husband.
And what does he do for a living?
He's unemployed.
Why?
Because it's been hard for him to find a job because he doesn't have documents.
Well, so you always ask one question too many. Do you have documents?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a U.S. citizen.
Then you have to work.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Then your husband can stay home and take care of your baby.
That's what he did.
Good. But you both can't stay home?
Right. Now, well, I just
then stick your sister with your car payment, because if you're both not working, you don't even need a car. If you're sitting around doing nothing, then you don't need a car.
But we had made an agreement, because I had told her, we had made an agreement, me and her had made an agreement to work, because she knew that I couldn't make the payments, and she had agreed that she would wait for me to go to court and then go ahead and just pay the car payment even if it was late. We had made the agreement, me and her.
That's incorrect, Your Honor. Does not make any sense.
What do you do for a living, Miss Villa?
I'm a team manager for a well-known company.
And you have children?
I have 4.
You support them?
I do.
Do they live with you?
They do.
Anybody else live in your house other than your 4 children?
My husband.
Does he work?
Yes, he does.
What kind of work does he do?
He's a manager for a contracting company.
He makes a good living?
Yes, he does.
You own a home?
I own 2, ma'am.
Have mortgages?
Yes.
Have cars?
Yes.
Have car payments?
Yes.
See what I mean? That, Miss Vasquez, is the American dream.
Well, that's my American dream someday.
Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
You can't stay home in your house,
right,
hoping the American dream will find you.
Right.
And you can't encumber anybody else with your problems.
I understand, ma'am, but I was fighting an appeal at the time, and that's
You
why...
already told me that 3 times. You don't visit that on your sister. Now, how much was each car payment?
They're $328 plus the late delinquency.
And what was the late fee?
I have a breakdown if you need that.
Yeah.
And then I have photos. I don't know if you need them, but they're the damages.
I want to see the damage that you allege to the car.
And the house that you see there in that photo is my defendant's witness's mom's house. So what a coincidence for that one.
You told us to leave the car there.
No. Be truthful. You just got sworn in.
Shh. Did you take the wheels off this car?
They're my tires. She told me that it was okay to do that,
The car was not given to her like that.
She told me days before that there was insurance on the vehicle before she was mad and angry and did all this. And she told me I had told her, well, Norma, I haven't went to court yet for my unemployment to pay.
No.
I'm being honest.
I want you to let her speak. Do you understand? Okay. And I don't want you to interrupt her again.
Okay.
Keep going.
She told me that I told her to ask the bank if she can tell the bank that the money was, lost in the mail.
So you asked her,
yes,
to lie to the bank.
I asked her, yes, ma'am,
that the check was in the mail.
Yes.
when it really wasn't in the mail.
Right.
So you lied. And you wanted her to lie.
And she did.
Just a second. And according to you, she lied for you.
She said that she was going to tell the bank that that it was lost in the mail, and by that time I should have my money to go, so I could go ahead and pay the payments with the late fee.
Okay, so you asked her to lie for you, and she did lie for you.
Right.
And then when it came time for you to send the money, you still didn't send it.
No, what happened was days after that, she said that the bank had reported the car stolen. And she called my mom. She wouldn't talk to me no more. She called my mom, and she told my mom the car was reported stolen. I'd be taken out by gunpoint and to leave the car. So I lived with my mom. She could have went and picked up. She didn't have to do all this. She could have went and picked the car up at my mom's house. The car was never moved again until that she told my sister-in-law on the phone to leave it somewhere where the police can find it, which I don't understand. And she had told me way before all this happened to take the rims off if she couldn't make the payment. That's the honest truth, Your Honor. That now for the inside is not damaged. What happened is I've had that car for 2 years. I do have a daughter, and you know the inside of the vehicle, of course, is going to get dirty, but it's not demolished.
Just because you have a daughter doesn't mean that a car has to look like this.
Well, it's the interior, ma'am. It's the interior. When my daughter, like, sometimes she got car sick, she'd throw up, and we would clean it with, like, when you clean the car, it stains.
Well, then let me ask you a question. Who's supposed to take care of that now that you no longer have the car?
Well, I would...
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's supposed to take care of it? The bank?
I am.
Right! There you go!
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want you to get a copy of my book. It's a book that I wrote a long time ago. Beauty fades, dumb is forever. I'm trying to educate you. You won't let it happen.
And later today,
I decided not to see her anymore. And it was just shortly thereafter that she became very, very nasty, and she accused me of giving her an STD and that she was pregnant.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Norma Villa says her sister, Alicia Vasquez, owes for car payments, car repairs, and money loaned.
Now, my next question to you. This nothing is my responsibility. When you put new rims on the car, what did you do with the old ones?
The old rims stayed at the dealer where I got the tires at.
Well, that's your problem. Because if you put something new on the car that you wanted to take back, then it was your responsibility to put back the original ones.
But my sister told me to do that. She told
I
me
don't
to take
believe you. She's a responsible, reliable person who has a job, and she has a husband who is employed, and she supports a household with 4 children, and she has 2 homes and 2 mortgages and car payments of her own, and she doesn't seem to be making excuses that not anything is my fault.
I'm not saying nothing.
Pay careful attention.
Yes, ma'am.
If you take out a radio and you put in a more expensive one, and then you have to send back the car to the company because you can't afford it, you don't leave it with no radio. You put back the original one. You don't leave it like this.
She told me to leave it like that.
I don't believe you.
She told me to leave the car on brakes and to take my rims off of it. Honest to truth. Tell
Makes
her.
sense.
Tell the truth.
Makes sense.
Tell the truth, sis.
No, just don't speak to each other. I don't believe that she said it to you. Even if she did say it to you, then, if you're a grown-up, you say, look, I've had this car for 2 years. If I can't get the wheels that were originally on the car, I'm just going to have to take the loss and leave the ones that are on the car because somebody is going to be penalized for this. It's not going to be you because your name isn't anywhere on the paperwork. It's got to be the person whose name is on the paperwork. That's her.
That's probably why she told me there was insurance on the car and to do that.
Listen, I want you to get a copy of my book. It's a book that I wrote a long time ago. Beauty fades, dumb is forever. I'm trying to educate you.
Yes, ma'am.
You won't let it happen. When you do things in life, you're supposed to accept responsibility.
I accept the responsibility that I took the tires. Because
no, you accept responsibility that you took the tires, but you don't want to pay for it. That's the responsibility. You said, of course I took them.
Well, I did a down payment on the car. I put $800 in the car. She's driving the car. She's saying that it was demolished, that it didn't work. I mean,
Madam,
that doesn't make any sense.
Listen to me.
That should cover my $800.
When you buy a car, any car, new or used, as soon as you drive the car out of a showroom, it depreciates. Do you understand that? That requires a simple yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you put $800 down on the car and you drove the car out of the showroom, you lost your $800. Do I make myself clear? Mm-hmm. You don't get that back. Your car didn't appreciate in value because your daughter vomited on the back seat. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now let's get to this $315 rent check?
She was in the process of getting evicted, and she needed money. She couldn't get any money from anywhere.
This is in April. This is when she stopped paying for the car as well, in April.
Correct.
Well, tell me about it.
I didn't want her to lose a roof over her head. And
Tell me about the conversation. Where did it take place?
She called me and asked me over the phone at work and asked me if I can please lend her the money. Her husband's going to get work or she's going to get unemployment or whatever the case is. Can I please lend her $315 so that she can pay the eviction so that they won't evict her?
Okay, she acknowledges that you gave her that money. When did you pay her back?
In June when I got, I had to get on cash aid temporarily.
So you went on welfare?
Yes, because I had to move, Your Honor, to Santa Rosa.
Welfare gave you a lump sum check?
No, they gave me like a cash aid.
For how much?
It was like $380 something.
And you took that whole $300 and gave it to your sister?
Yes, ma'am.
So what did you do for money?
I had to go stay with my mom temporarily, so the $80 that I had, that's in the food stamps that they had gave me.
Did she give you back the $300?
She didn't, Your Honor.
Of course not. It doesn't make sense that you got $380 from welfare, and after this major to-do that you had with your sister where you were annoyed with her about the car, and she said she may help you out with the payments, and you turned the car over to your sister, who was then very angry with you because the car was destroyed in the interior and didn't have any wheels at all and was up on blocks, that you paid her back the $300 that you owed her, saving only $80 for yourself. It doesn't make sense. You owe your sister $1,500. That's what you owe her reasonably to put the car back into condition and for this loan that you did not pay back. And I suggest that you and or your husband find some way of earning a living. You made a baby, you gotta get a job. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think that she does want a career and she wants a life, but she needs to leave what she has to get there.
I think she wants to see me downfall. That's why she's doing this to me.
And I'm even willing to help her do that.
That I cannot believe my own family would do something like this to me.
Because I love her. She's my sister.
I love her, and may the Lord forgive her for what she does.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Van Druff versus Dodds. Step forward, please.
Carrie Van Druff is suing her ex-boyfriend, Brian Dodds, for money loaned when he fell on hard times. Brian says Carrie offered him the money.
Bert, I have a couple of questions for you. Would you say that 100 times as many women loan money to men in our experience as the other way around?
At least.
I don't understand why women are always loaning money to men. I don't get it. They're supposed to be bigger. They're supposed to be stronger. They're supposed to be the hunters. They're supposed to be king of the jungle. And they're always walking around with their hand out. What I still don't understand is, I've asked the women over and over again, why do you want to give this guy money? You know? And I'm not able to get an answer, but what I'm going to try to do from now on is to get the answers from men who look as if they're ordinary guys. Why did you take money from her, Mr. Dodds?
Your Honor, at the time, it was the case that I was very, very short.
Why were you short?
I went through a pretty nasty divorce, and my ex-wife was taking me to court about every other week, and my lawyer was just killing me in fees. And at the time, I mean, it was coming up to Christmas time, everything. I was extremely short-handed of cash. That's all there is to it.
What do you mean it was coming up to Christmas? What does the time of year have to do with it?
I've got 2 daughters. I was really concerned how Christmas was going to turn out.
So you wanted to buy Christmas presents for your daughter, so you borrowed money?
No, that's not what happened, Your Honor. She knew that I was short of cash, and she just straight out just offered it, and I did refuse it, that no, I couldn't ask that of you. And she said, that's what friends do, and I'd like to do that for you. And it was with reluctance that I took it. I'm not one that likes to take handouts.
How long after that, Mr. Dodds, did you and the plaintiff stop seeing each other?
Maybe 2 months.
Was that a mutual decision or your decision?
It was my decision to stop seeing her.
Well, if it was your decision and you're a moral person, because clearly you were worried about your daughters coming up and not having Christmas presents in December, why didn't you start to pay her back?
Shortly after I told her that, we were going to stop seeing each other.
Did you just tell her, or did you send her a letter?
I sent her an email, I believe, actually, and I kind of explained to her.
That wasn't until February.
Go ahead.
And I explained to her why, decided not to see her anymore. And
right.
And it was just shortly thereafter that she became very, very nasty, and she accused me of giving her an STD and that she was pregnant. So it really concerned me. So I started going to different doctors, and I had some tests done to make sure that that was not the case. I was pretty concerned about that. So now I've got doctor bills that I have incurred because of her being spiteful or vindictive or whatever reason.
So in the email where you explained that you were breaking up with her, Mr. Dodds, did you say to her, and I know that I took some money from you, and I know it wasn't a loan at the time, but I consider it my moral obligation to give you the money back, so I'm going to start sending it to you. Was that included in your email?
I don't recall at the time.
Let's say no.
No.
Let's say it wasn't included in your email. Now, how do you think that that made her feel? She gets this email from you after she's given you this money because she was a good friend, and she insisted on helping you out so that your girls would have a Christmas. And then you send her this Dear John email, because we're living in the 21st century. And the email has nothing to do with her $510. So she gets vindictive and nasty. That's what women do. That's what they do. You're lucky all your pants weren't cut in half. Ms. Vandruff.
Yes.
You have 10 seconds to convince me that this was a loan and not, I want to help you because you're my friend. And if you want to say, I can't do it, I'm more than willing to hear it. I have humiliated him sufficiently. What's your pleasure?
Well, first of all this started about the same day that I did give him the money. He made a down payment on some land as well. Now, my problem is why in the world did he make a down payment on land if he couldn't afford his rent?
When did you find out about that?
I believe it was the same day or just before I gave him the check.
And you continued to date him?
Unfortunately.
You continued to share his home with him for a while.
I wasn't living with him.
I don't care whether you were living with him or not. You get my drift,
yes.
madam?
Yes.
That's also what women do. They'll make excuses. They'll go through all kinds of mental gymnastics to justify bad behavior. So, you've had your 10 seconds and you haven't convinced me that this was a loan.
I don't feel it was a loan.
It wasn't. It was a gift.
I mean, I gave him the money, and I did want to go ahead and help him, but he did send me an email stating that he would repay it.
Oh, let me see that. I would love to, in addition to humiliating him, give you a judgment.
And so if it was not a loan, why would he send me the email?
Oh, fine. Wednesday, April 20th. I will also be paying you back. If it's in installments, that's the best I can do right now. That's what you said to her.
Yes, ma'am, that's right. At that time, I'd tell her just about anything just to get her off my back.
Fine. Well, that's great. Well, that's what you told her. You said I'd be paying you back even in installments. So you didn't start?
No, ma'am. As far as I'm concerned, I don't owe her that money.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $510. You acknowledged the debt, sir. You said paying you back. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Daycare provider Samantha Burks is suing her former client, Lillian Linton, for babysitting fees and for making false allegations to Child Protective Services.
Now, this is case number 222 on the calendar in the matter of Burks versus Linton. You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats.
I've read your complaint, which alleges that the defendant breached a written contract that you had with her for child care. At some point, she terminated your services, you say, without good cause. She owes you some money. And in addition, she filed false charges against you with Child Protective Services, which required them to investigate your home, investigate whether or not you should continue to be licensed as a child care provider.
Yes,
Ms. Linton says that she took her children out of your care because you placed them in a situation that could have been dangerous, and she is counterclaiming for the potential harm that you did to her children. So when did she take the children out of your care?
On the 1st of July.
Tell me what monies you allege she owes you.
I'm alleging she owes me all that is paid through the county. She called me and gave me a 2-week notice and didn't fulfill it.
She gave you 2 weeks' notice when?
The day after in question. I guess it would be the 2nd of July.
On or about July 1st?
Well, may I tell you a little bit previously? Because I had not been keeping her kids. The end of school had come, and so we started making arrangements again for me to start keeping her children again. Miss Linton leaves her children home alone. I only was keeping her youngest son.
Shh. Don't interrupt her. I just want to know what happened on 7/1.
Okay. The day in question, I picked her children up.
How many children?
I picked all 4 of them up.
How old are they?
They're 13, 9, 6, and 1.
Is that your son?
Yes.
How old are you?
12.
Is that the one that you said was 13?
Yes, I was told he was 13.
You're 12?
Yes.
12, 9, 6, and 1?
12, 8, 6, and 1.
Okay. Go ahead. So you picked up her children, 4 children.
I picked up her children, and the day in question, I had a class I have to take. There are certain requirements through the county that you have to take classes. So I had a class. Lori McMillan's a friend of mine, and I have her watch them. She's watched her kids many times before.
Is Miss McMillan a licensed daycare provider?
No.
Are you permitted under your contract with the state to leave the children with unlicensed daycare providers?
Yes.
You are?
That I'm aware of. I've never...
Shh. Listen, I don't need any help, and this isn't a tea dance. Not that you're aware of.
Not that I'm not aware of, exactly.
Oh, okay. So, Ms. Burks, did you have to take classes in order to be a child care provider?
Yes.
Did they do a background check?
Yes.
Criminal background check. They did fingerprinting?
Yep.
Photographing?
Yep.
So you went through a process before the government says we will pay you money to watch children.
To get my license, you go through that process.
That's right. To get your license as a child care provider, you must go through this process.
Yes, ma'am.
She didn't go through the process.
Okay.
So nobody has to tell you that she's not permitted to take care of the children.
No.
I'm telling you that unless you are vetted by the state so that you can get a license, you can't give over the care of 4 children to somebody else.
I understand that now.
Good. What happened next?
Well, I haven't even gotten to the beginning of that day, because I would like to tell you the whole day.
I want you to tell me what happened when you left the children in a car. That's what this is all about.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, then get there.
Okay. On the day of question, I picked her children up. I went to the county building, had some paperwork to drop off for my father. I take care of my father, who is terminally ill, dying of cancer. After that, I went and picked up Gloria McMillan to watch the children for me. On the way home, I stopped past the party store. Getting out of the car, I said, guys, you guys wait right here. I'm going to run in the party store real quick, let my daughter pick out her party invitations. And we proceeded into the store. I left her children in the car. And on my way out of the car...
Where was she?
She went into the store to speak to a friend of hers that worked at the register in the store.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter is 2 now.
The daughter who was picking out the party invitations?
Yeah. I have a very bright 2-year-old.
Just a second.
What 2-year-old would be in them?
I'll give you this last opportunity. Then you're going out. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So let me understand this. First, you went to take care of some business for your father, who you take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And you took the children with you.
Mm-hmm.
Had this lady been watching the children yet?
No, she was
that day?
not with me.
Just a second. Who was with the children when you dropped the paperwork off?
I was with the children.
Did they come into the county building with
Actually,
you?
no, they stayed outdoors and played. I never thought any of this to be a problem at all, Miss Linton.
Well, Miss Burks, it's a problem. That's what we're doing now. I'm going over the day.
I understand
I'm going over the day because it's getting worse as we go forward.
No, ma'am, this is already worse. I understand what I did was completely wrong.
Well, if you understand that, then, Miss Burks, I don't quite understand why you're here. Because from what I read in the complaint...
Miss Linton is slandering my name.
Just a second. If what you're telling me is you picked up her children and you had your 2-year-old in the car, you went to the county building.
Mm-hmm.
Did you take your 2-year-old inside with you?
To the county building, yes, ma'am, and her son.
Shh. And her 12-year-old or
no,
her 1-year-old?
Her littlest son. They stayed outside and played basketball.
You went inside and you took your 2-year-old and her 1-year-old into the county building. And her other 3 children stayed outside alone.
And played on the playground.
I don't care where they played. They stayed outside alone.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you come back to the car and you went and picked up this lady.
Yes.
And then 2 adults, your daughter, went inside to a store and you left her 4 children in the car, including the 1-year-old.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how long were you in the store?
Maybe 5 minutes.
So that's what the case is about. It was the next day that she called and gave you notice.
Right, but that's not what she called me and said the next day.
What did she call you and say the next day?
She called me on the phone. When I answered, I said, hello. She says, I'm giving you a 2-week notice because you have a problem with my son. I said, no, ma'am, I don't have a problem with your son. Your son is a child. You're a liar.
No, no, no. Listen to me. Miss Linton, don't speak to her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're a liar.
I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. So far, you have no case.
That's fine. I don't care if I don't have a case.
Good.
She will not sit here on national TV and lie about me. I kept her son overnight, you liar.
And later today.
She owed me the money for the rent. And on top of that, then she steals my boyfriend.
Listen, nobody steals a boyfriend.
They can have each other.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Daycare provider Samantha Burks says former client Lillian Linton owes for breaking their contract. Lillian claims Samantha left her kids unattended in a parked car. She is countersuing for child neglect.
Okay, go ahead.
I said, no, ma'am, I don't have a problem with your son. Your son is a child. Your son has a problem with following adult supervision. And this is not the first incident that I had an issue with her son. I said to her, your children were throwing rocks, and I asked them to stop. When I asked him to stop, her son looked over at me and said, "I'm not throwing rocks," just like that, with a handful of rocks. So I said, "I'll just call your mom." When I called her on the phone, she said, let me see if I can remember her exact words. "They know I don't play that. I'm gonna beat that when they get home." I said, "Okay, I'm just letting you know it's not acceptable in my house. People have nice things around here. I don't want to be responsible for anything that happens." And that was it. We got off the phone. Later that evening, I had to have my father rushed to the hospital. I was under a lot of stress. Her kids were still outdoors, not paying me any mind, not listening to anything I said. And when she got there, you could see the agitation in her face, you know.
Where does your father live?
He lives with me.
Ms. Burks, your plate is too full.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Now, when you accept the responsibility of taking care of someone else's children, you have to take care of them sometimes better than their own parents take care of them.
I did.
No. Listen to me. If you have 5 children,
I made a very big mistake, and I would never do it again.
You have 5. Listen to me. I'm not even going there. The car, totally, 100% unacceptable. And she had every right to call Child Protective Services and say, "You left 4 children in the car, including a 1-year-old child, and I'm complaining about that."
I never said she was wrong about that. What she's wrong about is that she wants to point the finger at me when she's a bad mother herself. She leaves her children home daily.
Miss Burks, listen to me. If we were involved in some other forum, I would say to you, fine, we can vent upon who's a better mother, who's a bad mother, who's a good mother. We're here because you sued her for 2 things: for money for child care and for filing a false report to Child Protective Services. Whether she's a good mother, whether she's a bad mother, whether she's a wicked stepmother, whatever she is, she did the right thing by calling Child Protective Services to report that you had left the children alone. Your plate is very full. When you accept children into your home as a child care provider, you're supposed to do more with those children than just be a body there. You're supposed to play with them. You're supposed to provide them with activity. With
Are
you.
you asking me if I did these
listen
things,
to
or
me.
you just telling me what I'm supposed
What
to
I'm
do?
telling you is, if you have a 2-year-old toddler yourself and a father who is terminally ill with cancer that you're caring for in your home, it is impossible to set up a home, your home, to be an appropriate and adequate child care provider.
Well, Judge Judy, that's your opinion. I disagree. And my father was not diagnosed with lung cancer when I took care of her children. Through the process of taking care of her children, he was diagnosed with lung cancer.
You told me the story, madam. You said I had to drop some papers off for my father, who was dying of cancer, who I was also caring for. You told that to me.
But you're saying to me...
I'm saying to you that your plate was too full.
In general,
with your own
day?
children. That day.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay.
That day, that's all you need is one day. That's all you need is one day to miss a child. You know, they missed a couple of children on another coast, and they ended up in the trunk of a car.
I actually investigated myself. There's a lot of bad things that happen to children that get left in cars, and I'm very aware of it.
Absolutely. Ended up in trunks of car, and they didn't get them in time.
Do it again.
So what
I would never do it again.
So you don't belong in court, Miss Burks?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Miss Linton is going around town saying bad things about me. I am not a bad person.
Just a second. If you have information or witnesses that she's saying anything about you scandalous that have to do with other than your child care abilities, I'll be more than happy to hear witnesses to that.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know if she's saying things about you, about your personal life, that you have a disease, that you're a thief.
No, she's just basically in a nutshell saying that I'm a bad person. Her exact words was that I'm not cracked up to all that I'm supposed to be.
Listen to me. That's her opinion. And she can say that, and not all speech is actionable in a court. What you did as a child care provider was wrong, so you have no basis to sue her for either the money that you claim she owes you or for calling Child Protective Services. None. She's got a counterclaim.
Yes, I do.
Your counterclaim is that she left your 4 children in the car.
Yes.
Were any of them hospitalized?
No, they weren't hospitalized.
Just listen to me. I have questions. Any of them treated by a physician that day or the next day?
No.
Okay, so they suffered no injury. Who are you?
I had the kids the following day, and the 1-year-old was throwing up 2 to 3 times.
You're a liar. And I have never seen this one before. She did not have the 1-year-old the next day. I kept her son overnight.
I am a licensed.
I kept her son overnight.
I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. So far, you have no case.
That's fine. I don't care if I don't have a case.
Good.
She will not sit here on national TV and lie about me. I kept her son overnight, you liar.
Miss Burks, I've already explained in a calm fashion why I'm dismissing your case.
That's fine.
Miss Linton, you have no counterclaim against her. You have no proof that her actions caused illness to any of your children. You were perfectly within your rights to take them out of her care.
Her illness
and I'm speaking. I'm speaking. And you were perfectly within your rights to call Child Protective Services to report the neglect. Other than that, you have no claim against her because her actions, while they placed your children in potential harm's way, did not cause any injury to your children. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all. Step out.
Harm's way every day.
He's a liar.
Home alone.
Liar.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That's it.
Miss Linton is a crackhead that leaves her children home alone.
I do no drugs. I do drink my wine, but I do no drugs. She's a lying. She's just mad.
Miss Linton is a bad woman. She's a lying woman, too.
Oh, she's a liar.
Miss Linton, who goes to church and is a fake Christian, needs to get real with herself.
Y'all better watch out for y'all children, because skanks like her may end up with them.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sams versus Hurst. Step forward.
Donna Sams is suing her former roommate, Barbara Hurst, for unpaid rent. Donna also claims Barbara stole her boyfriend.
Miss Sams, Miss Hurst was your roommate for a period of time, and you both were signatories on the lease.
I am the signatory on the lease, and then when she moved in, I had to sign a notice to change my rent, which raised my rent $800 a month for having a roommate.
Can I see that, please? Thank you. Your complaint alleges that after she moved in, she did pay the rent for a period of time, and then she lost her job.
Right, that's correct.
And you took on additional work responsibilities to cover the rent,
yeah,
with her promise that she would pay you back. She not only didn't pay you back, but according to you, she has since moved out and moved in with your former boyfriend.
Yeah.
Miss Hurst says that, A, you were finished with the boyfriend before she moved in with him, and second, that she did the chores around the house in exchange for the rent, and there was never an agreement to pay you back.
Chores for the rent?
Shh, just a second. Okay. So I have a few questions.
Okay.
When did this roommate relationship begin?
She moved in on September 1st of last year.
How long did you know her prior to her moving in?
A couple of years. We worked together.
What prompted her to move in with you?
Well, we were talking in the lunchroom one day, and she was telling me that she wasn't real happy with her living arrangement, and my rent was $1,200 a month. But it was a big house, and it was just me and my dogs. And so, you know, I told her I would check into it. I didn't know how it would happen as far as the lease goes. I'd have to check with my landlord. And I did that, and then I talked to her the following week. Even though the rent would be raised $800 a month, I would be paying $200 less, and she would be paying about, I don't know, maybe less than what she was paying before.
Okay, great. So you moved in September of 2004?
Yes.
When did you pay rent?
I paid rent for September, October, and November, and I paid $300 in December.
If you had paid rent, how much would you have paid from December until you moved out?
$5,000.
Is that right?
Yeah, but she made a $300 payment in December, and then in April she gave me $200, so it was
Came down to
$4,500.
Well, I'd like you to explain to me what happened.
Well, I met Donna's ex-boyfriend.
He wasn't my ex then.
Don't. I'm speaking to her. Go ahead.
I met Donna's now ex-boyfriend in November, and they had broken up, and we hit it off, and we started dating, and I didn't feel that I needed to really tell her at the time because she was...
skip over the boyfriend and get to the rent.
I got laid off in December.
Yes.
And I was looking for a job, and I didn't find another one until April.
Yes.
And that's why I didn't pay rent.
Well, what did you do all day?
I was looking for work, and I would clean the house, and...
Well, who did you expect to pay your rent?
I figured I'd get another job.
So you owe her the money.
She was happy with the way things were working. No money was mentioned until I told her about me seeing her ex-boyfriend.
Madam, she's not related to you, is she?
No.
Could you move your hair? I can't see both of your eyes. Thank you very much. I mean, why would you think that this lady has the responsibility to take care of you? Forget the fact that you started to date her boyfriend. I don't even care about that. Because, you know, when it comes to issues of the heart, who knows what happens. Why would you think this lady's responsibility is to take care of you?
I don't think it's her responsibility. I thought she was helping me out.
Why? Because you moved there, her rent practically doubled. Duh.
She didn't say anything until I brought up the fact that I was dating her ex-boyfriend.
She owed me the money for the rent, and she knows she did.
owes you the money for the rent.
And on top of that, then she steals my boyfriend. She met him 2 months before she ever lost her job.
Listen, nobody steals a boyfriend.
They can have each other.
Right. Nobody steals somebody, not these days. If he wanted to go, he went, and good riddance to him, right?
Yeah.
And good riddance to her?
But it's still
She owes you $4,500. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,500. Thank you, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
40-year-old caterer William Patterson is suing neighbor, 29-year-old massage therapist Tim Freytag for impound fees and loss of wages resulting from false hit-and-run charges.
Order. All rise. This is case number 495 on the calendar in the matter of Patterson versus Freytag. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Patterson, how long have you and the defendant been neighbors?
Approximately 4 to 5 years.
Ever had any trouble with each other? Other than this instance?
Yes, I have.
Like what kind of trouble?
Well, my dogs were poisoned, my car was hit and run, my tires have been slashed.
What does that have to do with the defendant?
Well, I feel that he filed this report maliciously against me, Your Honor, to make my life
I'm not talking about the report. I'm talking about prior to this report that we're talking about. Had you had any difficulty with him?
Other than incidents, no. I rarely see these people or speak with them.
So, my question is, prior to this incident,
yes,
had you had any difficulty with Mr. Freytag?
No.
According to your complaint, you hit his car.
Yes.
Which was parked.
Yes.
Deliberately.
And that happened on a Friday, the 15th of December. Your claim is that he filed a false report of a hit and run, as a result of which your car was impounded, you lost a catering job, you want him to pay for the impound fees and the loss of income that you had as a result of this catering job.
Yes, Your Honor.
So let's go to December 15th. At what time of the day did you hit his car?
I would say about 8:30 a.m.
What happened when you hit his car?
Well, when I start the car, I put it in gear. The van lurched forward and broke Mr. Freytag's lens covers on his car and scratched his bumper. Then Mr. Freytag came out, running out of his house, yelling at me, and I told him that it was an accident, that I was sorry, that I had insurance, that I would pay for it.
It's not true.
Just a minute. You'll have your turn. Did you give him your insurance card and information?
No, I showed it to him.
What do you mean you showed it to him?
I showed it to him. I said, I have insurance for all my vehicles. He kept yelling at me. He says, "Why? Well, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that." And I said, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I have to leave now." And I did. I had a big event that evening. I will at any time work 3 to 5 parties in a weekend, so
Just try to answer my question, sir.
Okay.
You're not going to get ahead of me. Trust me.
I know.
Trust me.
I do trust you.
You're not. Just trust me that you're not going to get ahead of me. Where were you going?
I was going to the store to pick up some product.
What kind of product?
I think it was paper plates and napkins or something.
Anything else?
It was, you know, I think I needed some sugar and some dairy product and...
So where did you go after you left the store?
I went back and parked
To where? You went back to where?
A street in back of my house, 2 blocks from my house.
And why did you do that?
Because I've been having my tires slashed.
But you had had your tires slashed before and yet you parked in front of your house.
Well, I actually have built a driveway on the side of my house.
You mean just this day you decided when you came back not to park your car there?
It's a hassle to park in that small area that I have.
So instead you parked 2 blocks away?
This time, yes.
And you walked home with all your product?
No, I left the product in the van.
So then whatever you bought you left in the van and you went to your house?
I made some phone calls and, you know, went out in my other car to meet someone.
What time?
9:30, 10 maybe.
So you went to the store, picked up what you needed, you came back, made some phone calls, and then went out again, all in the span of a half hour?
I would say so, yes.
So then you went out again in another one of your cars?
Yes.
Now that car, I guess you weren't worried about having the tires slashed?
No. It had already been slashed.
You mean you drove a car with slashed tires?
No.
And what time did you get home that evening?
We left.
Excuse me?
When I saw my car being towed, I canceled my party and I left.
How did you see your car being towed?
Well, I saw the police in front of my house talking to Mr. Freitag.
About what time, sir?
This is about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, so you didn't leave?
I was driving by and I saw the police in front of the house talking with Mr. Freitag.
Yes.
And I didn't want to deal with the police. They've been searching my house 3-4 times a month.
Just a second. You didn't want to deal with the police at that time.
Yeah.
So I assume that you knew at that time they were talking to Mr. Freitag about the accident that had occurred that morning.
Exactly.
And you didn't want to deal with it at that time.
I don't want to deal with it.
So you left.
Exactly.
Now then you said something about seeing your car being towed. When did that happen?
My neighbor told me that my van had been towed and that the police were looking for me.
At what time did you see your neighbor?
This was in the early afternoon.
What did you do then?
I went to Santa Barbara.
Is that where the car was?
No, that's where the police weren't.
That's where the police were not?
Yes.
Okay, and why did you do that?
Because I'm afraid of the police.
Okay. Okay. When did you finally make contact with the police, Mr. Patterson?
Monday morning.
So that was 3 days later?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you do?
I went in because I called the detectives, wanted me to come in. I came in, I showed them my insurance, and they let me go.
How did you know to see this particular detective? Was there a note on your door?
How did I don't remember.
Okay. But they told you where your car was?
Yes.
And when was your catering job?
That evening, December 15th.
Well, could you explain to me, I mean, even if I bought this whole story, could you explain to me why Mr. Freitag is responsible for you losing a catering job on December 15th?
Because he had my car towed for no other reason than to be malicious. I mean, I've lived next door to him.
Just a second. So you had all this stuff prepared, I assume, for this party on December 15th. If you had everything ready, you go to the party and you do the party. You rent a couple of taxi cabs and you get there. Why is he responsible for that?
Because my van was towed.
I'm saying to you, sir, you have the food for the party, you got the paper plates, you got the sugar, you got the dairy, you got everything else. You want to go over to the party, and I assume that you had done all of this stuff well in advance, at least most of it, certainly done in the morning. He didn't interfere. You weren't in jail. You go to do the party. All right, Mr. Freitag, let's hear your version. He hits your car, you hear a noise. What happened?
I believe he hit my car at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I would like to elaborate on something. I believe that my car being struck deliberately is simply a symptom of a larger scope, a bigger picture. I have evidence of a running log of Bill Patterson harassing his wife, and she at this point is 7 months pregnant. Once I called the police because of it. My witness, John Kelly, has called the police based on this log about 4 times, I believe. So
Can I see the log, please?
It's this wife harassment process, and my worry and my concern for the baby that I believe has brought all of this on.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. William Patterson says neighbor Tim Freitag filed false hit-and-run charges against him. Tim denies the charges were false and says he's concerned for the welfare of William's wife.
Were you aware of the fact that he had called the police as a result of what he believed to be domestic violence in your house?
I believe that he was calling the police, yes.
Is this your wife?
Yes.
Step up. Have you been at home when the police responded to your home?
Pardon me?
Have you been at home when the police came to your home?
Yes.
Involving domestic violence in your home?
The first time, no. Just
at any time?
Yes.
How long have you been married to the plaintiff?
Tomorrow gonna be 3 years.
You have children?
1 baby, yeah.
How old is your baby?
7 months.
Does your husband yell?
Sometimes.
Does he yell loud?
He has a loud voice, yeah.
Do you ever yell at him?
Not often.
Has your husband ever put his hands on you?
No.
Never?
No.
Where do you come from?
I'm from El Salvador.
Do you have any other family here?
No.
You're alone?
Yeah.
Do you know the defendant?
Yeah.
Have you ever spoken with him?
Just one time.
When was that?
I think so. I was pregnant when I talked to him. He was doing some gardening, and we live next door, and he just, I don't know, I talked to him.
You never had any problem with him, is that right? You never had any problem with Mr. Freytag?
No.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
I do operate a catering business out of my home. I yell on the phone with my purveyors, with my fishmonger, whoever it is.
That's not what we're talking about
I
here.
understand that's not what you're talking about.
Mr. Patterson, that's not what we're talking about
I have built fences between our properties to try and give my neighbors more privacy.
Illegal
but there's
fence.
no domestic violence going on, and I consider this harassment. I mean, we have had the agriculture department, the dog catcher,
Mr.
the
Patterson,
building inspector,
Mr.
every
Patterson.
possible person come and inspect us.
Mr. Patterson, we're not talking about yelling and screaming on the phone, sir, to people who are servicing your business. And when I asked you before whether or not you had had any prior dealings of a negative nature with the defendant, you said no.
Yeah.
But you just told me, sir, you were aware of the fact, or believed, that he had called the police with regard to what he believed to be domestic violence coming from your home.
I assumed that. I also assumed that he's been slashing the tires and doing all this other malicious stuff to my property.
You want to say anything else, sir?
It sounded one day and several times like his wife was in distress and he was doing the aggressive yelling.
Were you the only one at home when you heard that?
No.
Who else was at home?
John Kelly on many occasions.
Well, step up, Mr. Kelly. I'd like to hear you, sir.
Anna, my other roommate.
Well, that person's not here. Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Your Honor.
You live in the same house as the defendant?
Yes, we share the house.
Have you ever heard what appeared to be yelling coming from the plaintiff's home?
I would say frequently, Your Honor, if not consistently. And it was I who made the first phone call alleging domestic abuse, and I think it's ongoing.
Can you tell me what you heard the first time?
Very loud yelling, obviously directed at Gloria. We had been concerned about her ongoing, and I just got to the point where I could no longer ignore it. And by this time, she'd had the baby, and I was concerned that the kid should even be in that environment where all the yelling and screaming didn't seem to me like to be the proper place for the job. But in addition to which, I thought that ultimately it could get physical. Mr. Patterson's got a reputation in the neighborhood for being somewhat strange with his temper.
Did you ever hear the same kind of confrontations coming from the house while Miss Patterson was pregnant?
They did not seem to be as regular, and it didn't register me at the with me at the time. I started that log. We actually kept that log on the refrigerator, and I told everybody in and around the house that any time anything happened with this guy to make a note of it, because I suspected something like this was going to come up. I actually wanted to pursue a restraining order. Tim didn't. I think we need one. When I served him the summons in the case that we originally filed against him to get Tim's damages back, he came at me with a 2x4. I actually found that amusing. I wasn't too concerned, as you may have imagined.
I gather. Are you the other neighbor?
Yes.
Step up, sir. Tell me your name.
James Robinson.
How long have you lived in the neighborhood, Mr. Robinson?
8 years.
You know the plaintiff?
Yes, both.
You know his wife?
Yes.
How far away do you live from them?
I live in a condo right next to them, and my actual side of my house faces their side, and then they're on the other side.
Are you friends?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know the defendant?
Yes, friends with them too.
Have any problem with them?
None at all.
Were you the one who told Mr. Patterson that his car had been towed?
That was a guy across the street.
Your Honor, I have some information about the towing.
Yes.
It was actually I who called the police the second time. I became concerned that Mr. Patterson was probably stashing his vehicle in order to cover up evidence of the accident, because when I returned to the house, I actually saw the accident happen. What happened was I went out looking for the van. I found the van. There was clear evidence of the impact on it. I called Tim on his cell phone. He went and took pictures. I then called the police and told them that the reason that I was calling them is that we could not determine either the license or insurance information from Mr. Patterson. The officer was great. He says to me, "We'll go get it." He says, "He'll tell me or I'll take his truck." He went to the house. This is approximately 4:30 in the afternoon. Nobody responded. Police then went back to the truck, called the tow truck. By this time, it's dark, so it's fairly late in the day.
So this was at least at 5:30 or 6 o'clock.
Definitely, it was after sunset. But I was the one that initiated
well after you'd bring catered food to a party.
I would think so.
Right. Okay. Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Ever heard any yelling coming from their house?
A few times. But again, I know Billy, and I know that he does have a loud voice, and I know it's harmless.
You don't live with him?
No.
When you heard the loud yelling, Mr. Robinson, you look like a very honest guy. I know I'm going to get honest answers from you. Was that yelling that was coming from conversation with an employee on the telephone, or was it coming from someone who was yelling at his wife?
I think it could have been a combination of both. I think, like I say, Billy's very emotional and can be very loud. I know that he wouldn't hurt her because I've confronted him on that, and I kind of...
Mr. Robinson, you know I've been around the block a little bit in this business.
Right.
When you say you've had conversations with Mr. Patterson about it, it must have bothered you a little bit.
Yeah,
That a fair statement?
Yes.
That it bothered you a little bit. That he's got a wife who comes from El Salvador who doesn't have another living soul here. You don't hear her yelling at him, do you?
No.
Just him. Mr. Patterson, you have no basis for your lawsuit, sir. Instead of following through, you took your car away and you stashed it a couple of blocks away. You saw the police were looking for you. You avoided the police. You said that yourself. You wanted not to deal with the police at all. You figured maybe the whole thing would blow over. I don't know what you thought. The defendant, shh, I'm speaking. You're not going to yell at me. Trust me. The defendant had an absolute right to call the police and say, he hit my car, he took off, he secreted his car along with the evidence of the accident, which was on your car, and the police had absolutely every right to go and impound your car until you came in, which you did, not that day, but 3 days later. The fact that you, according to you, lost a catering job, that's your fault. I believe the witness for the defendant that your car was not towed until much later in the day. And if I had a responsibility of catering a party, I would have hired 2 taxi cabs, said I have all the stuff ready, I'm taking the stuff over there, and I'll deal with this car at some other time. The thing that's most distressing to me is that you lied to me with regard to whether you and the defendant had had any prior negative dealings, and it is clear to me that you did. You were aware of the fact that the defendant had, in fact, called the police with regard to what he believed was domestic violence coming from your home.
I suspected it.
You suspected it. Well, your suspicions were well-founded, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Robinson, who came here today as your witness, was sufficiently concerned with the welfare of your wife to have had a discussion with you about what he perceived to be overbearing, let's use a nice word, overbearing behavior on your part with regard to your wife. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's fair.
I didn't say violent. I said overbearing. Put your hand down, sir. I mean, is there something really relevant?
I wrote a note to him on a neighborly basis saying, your child is going to suffer from what you're doing. Why don't you get anger management? And I put it in his mailbox.
Well, there's no question in my mind that he knew that the police complaint emanated from you. I believe that you probably have an anger problem, Mr. Patterson. You had an anger problem that day. Your wife is alone here in a foreign country. She has no family here. And that is a very, very unfortunate circumstance for somebody who is the wife of somebody who has an anger problem. And you do. You have a child, you have a son.
I do not have an anger problem.
Do you have a son, I asked you?
Yes, I have a son.
Sons emulate what they see. If you do not respect their mother and demonstrate that respect on an ongoing basis, you will raise an abuser. If that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. Your lawsuit before me is dismissed. And, Bert, would you take Mrs. Patterson aside and ask her if she wants to have a discussion with me? I'd be more than happy to speak with her privately in the event that she wants to discuss anything with me privately or any referrals that I might make for her. Thank you.
Judge. Parties are excused. You may step out. Step forward, please.
23-year-old printer Rolanda Davis says she loaned her car to neighbor Rhonda Davis, and it came back damaged. Rhonda claims in her countersuit she owes her money for a missing gold ring.
Order, all rise. Yeah, this is case number 240 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Davis. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
I'm going to try to make this rather complicated case as simple as I can. You are not related to each other, even though you have the same last name.
No.
You are neighbors.
Yes.
She borrowed your car.
Yes, she did.
And it was involved in some sort of a traffic accident, and it was damaged.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And you want her to pay for the damage to the car.
Yes, I do.
She says that while you were babysitting for her, jewelry was stolen from her house. So she's countersuing you for the jewelry. She said, therefore, she doesn't have to pay for the car. Is that this case?
Yes, it is.
So at least we have one thing that's a given. You damaged her car.
Yes.
Now, in what month, date and month, did you damage her car? And you don't know this right off the top?
July 12th, Your Honor.
No, I don't.
July 12th is when you borrowed the car.
Yes.
How was it damaged? Tell me.
I was damaged on the on the driver's door.
And how did you do that?
I didn't do it. A car hit her car while I was parked.
So she says, Your Honor.
Whatever, you weren't there.
Right.
But it was damaged while it was in your control.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's not covered by insurance.
No, it's not.
Why did you let her borrow your car?
Because she asked me if she can borrow my car to go to the grocery store.
That's not true.
And I said, do you have a driver's license? And she said yes. And I let her drive my car. When she left, my car was a brand new car.
No, I understand that. She's acknowledging that the car was damaged while it was under her control. Did you have a driver's license?
No, I did not.
Why? Why did you use her car without having a driver's license?
She sent her daughter to come get me, to go to Lucky's, to go get some milk and cereal for her daughter because she was sick.
Your Honor.
I did her a favor.
Your Honor. She asked me to use my car. The first question I asked her, before I even answered her, was, do you have a driver's license?
That's not true.
She said yes.
Just a second. Did you have insurance?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Well, I had got the car in May, and I moved in June. I guess my insurance papers, from what the car dealership told me, went to my old address. Being that I didn't get them in time, they pinned it because I only had it a month after I got my car.
So far, you both sound very responsible. No insurance, no driver's license. It's a perfect match.
Okay.
All right. Now, when allegedly was this jewelry stolen and how? What month?
It was stolen August 23rd.
All right. 8/23. Now, between July 12th when the car was damaged and August 23rd, why didn't you pay her for the damage?
Because, for one thing, when after the accident had happened, okay, I came straight to Rolanda and I said, Rolanda, someone had hit your car. We came out, we looked at the car. She said, Rhonda, don't worry about it. It's not that much damage. It could have happened to me if I'd have had your car. She said, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Come on now.
All right. And so
that was it, okay? August 23rd was my birthday. We needed a babysitter.
Just a minute. So are you telling me that between July 12th, when our car was damaged, and August 23rd, there was no other discussion about paying for the car?
None. None.
Okay. You say there was?
Yes, there was.
When was there?
When she came back, when she pulled back into the parking lot, and I came outside and seen my car, and I'm just shaking my head, and she was like, Rolanda, I'm going to help you fix your car. She said she's been knowing people who can fix my car, Your Honor. She said she's been knowing people, and I'll come to her door, I'll ask for some time. I'll be like, have you talked to someone?
No,
and she'll be like, yeah, I know somebody who will fix the car.
Okay.
You know, and then she got mad one night and was like, I'm not going to fix your car.
Who are you?
I'm her witness and roommate. We live together. When she was at the store, I was at Rolanda's house sitting, waiting for her because the store is not very far from where we stay at. Okay. When she came back, all three of us walked out where the car is parked at in front of our apartment building, and we looked at the car. You know, I was looking like, where's the dent, you know? And it was very small, like maybe if someone opened their door and maybe hit the car or something like that, that's what it looked like. To me, it wasn't major at all.
I'm going to see pictures of it. I assume the pictures are here.
It wasn't major at all.
My pictures to prove that they're not little itty bitty dents.
I have pictures
I have
too.
I have some damages that.
Just a shut.
Okay.
That's certainly not an itty bitty dent.
No, and that wasn't the dent that was in that car. Neither. Her car had been hit 3 times since that accident.
Well, when did you take pictures of it?
Maybe about 2 weeks ago when I knew that she was following this.
Just a second. 2 weeks ago this happened? 3 months ago?
July the 12th, Your Honor.
Yes, but I didn't know she was going to file no suit against me or anything like this.
When were these pictures taken?
Those pictures were taken 3 days ago.
3 days ago?
3 days ago.
Not interested in these pictures?
Well,
I want to see the estimate.
Okay. I have
right
an estimate,
after
Your
July
Honor.
12th.
I have an estimate, Your Honor, proving how much my driver's door does not open. My window is broken.
That window was in that car.
It has been rain in my car, the door, it's rain, it's mildew stains inside of my car.
Your husband
Just a
broke
minute.
the window.
Hey! This damage report is 2.5 months after this incident.
Yes. Okay. Your Honor, I'm telling the guys all the truth. She damaged my car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You copped an attitude, which I have a feeling you can do very easily, and you said, I'm not doing that.
And later today,
Whoever made the decision that this was not going to be a long-term relationship, whether it was you or whether it was him, whoever it was, you're very lucky.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rolanda Davis says after she loaned her car to her neighbor, 36-year-old Rhonda Davis, she returned it with extensive damage. Rhonda admits the car was wrecked, but says Rolanda stole a gold ring from her home, making them even.
She acknowledges she damaged your car. You do not have an estimate within a day, a two, a week after the accident.
Right.
$1,500 is practically what they charge just to look at a car. One of these car doctors, they come out in a white coat and they look at it. The looking costs $1,500. So we're not talking about a lot of money. The damage that you caused to the car was at least probably $1,500.
Yes.
If they have to pull it out, they have to repaint it, they have to buff it out. You agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So $1,500 she's entitled to for the car. Now, you have to prove to me that she took your jewelry. Prove it.
Only way that I can prove it is that when we got ready to leave, when I got to the club, Jocelyn noticed that my jewelry was gone. What I did, I immediately got on the phone. I called Rolanda. I dialed my number. Rolanda answered my phone. She said, hello. I said, Rolanda, this is Rhonda. First thing I said, how's the kids? She said, everything okay. I said, Rolanda, I left my rings on top of the TV. Can you please go get them for the kids won't mess with them? She said, okay. I said, I'm going to hold on until you do this, I was holding on the phone. Whether Rolanda went in my room to check to see was the rings there or not, I was holding on. She came back to the phone. She said, okay, I got them. I said, okay, everything's okay? She said, yes. I hung up the phone. When I returned home, I say approximately maybe about 2:30, close to 2:45. Immediately as I walked in my door, I seen my table, the glass was broke, Then Rolanda said, the window in the room is broke. I said, the room window. So I goes in the room and I pulls the curtain back. The whole window is busted out, A family heirloom that I had from my grandmother that's passed, that was broke, My rings was missing, all in one night.
Okay. What happened?
She called. And she did tell me that her ring was somewhere in her room. She did say that she would hold while I go in the room. I did not go in that room because I didn't want to be responsible for nothing coming up
Just
missing.
a second.
Okay.
Stop you right there.
All right.
She called. She said, I'll hold on.
I sat the phone down.
Just a second.
Okay.
She said, I'll hold on while you go inside and get my rings because I don't want the kids. That's what she said to you.
Right.
And you did what?
And I sat the phone down and sat there. I did not come back and reply to her, I got them.
Yes, you did.
Oh, sure you did.
Yes, you did. That's what it
Sure
really
you did.
holding on.
Okay.
No, that's why I was, oh, excuse me.
No.
Excuse me.
Oh, sure you did.
She is lying. No, I did not. My mother is right here.
Let me tell you why you did. Let me tell you why you did. Because it doesn't make sense. It's not logical for you to have then walked back and said, I don't have the rings. I'm sorry. You put the phone down. You said, going to wait a couple of minutes. You picked the phone up. You said, got him.
I didn't say got him.
What did you say?
I told her I was not going in her room because I wasn't going to be responsible.
No, you didn't.
That's what I said.
Oh, you please
I didn't
give me a
leave
break.
out that living room.
Give.
Your Honor,
You got
that
my
is
rings.
the truth. I didn't leave out the living room.
Oh, I believe it.
I stayed
How you
right
know the
next door
bedroom
to
window
her.
was
Listen
broke?
to me. Listen to me.
Okay.
Either way, you're responsible. She's absolutely right. Either way, you're responsible. She called you.
That's what I did.
You were babysitting for her children. She said, I left my rings. Please go inside and secure them. Instead of doing that, You copped an attitude, which I have a feeling you can do very easily, and you said, I'm not doing that. You took the phone, put it down, waited a minute, picked it up and said, I got him.
That's what she did.
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Sure you did. Tell me what rings were missing.
This is the rings right here. I have the things from the rings and everything. They're not even finished paying for. Here's everything for the rings. It's the ones that's
a room at all.
That's your problem.
Circled.
Then you lied.
Here's
No,
my
I didn't.
stuff
Oh, sure you did.
For my table.
Oh, sure you did.
I got the
How?
window fixed, but not the table.
How,
but
Your
this
Honor?
is
How did you lie?
Yeah.
You lied because you told her I got the rings.
No,
Here
I
we go,
didn't.
right
Oh, I
never
believe you
told her
did.
that.
Listen, I may be wrong. I was wrong once in 1950. I don't remember what it was, but I'm sure I was wrong
And
once
this
in
day
1950.
too, Your Honor, because I didn't say that to her.
Be quiet.
Judge Judy is ready to rule. And later today,
You are so full of baloney.
Am I?
You are so full of baloney. But you're a very quick thinker.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
This case is going to turn out to be a wash, you know. Because I believe that you should have paid for the car, for the damage to the car. I believe that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Miss Attitude over here decided that she was tired of asking you to pay for the car and made things sort of even. Your lawsuit is dismissed. Your countersuit is dismissed because they're just for about the same amount of money. The loss of the rings, the damage to her car, it's a wash.
With me.
That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
And now the next case.
Parties on Penda versus Crane. Step forward, please.
55-year-old engineering assistant Dee Pender says she bought a computer for 43-year-old Robert Crane while the two were dating. Robert claims he knows nothing about it.
While you and the defendant were dating, you claimed that you bought a computer for him, he agreed to pay you for the computer, stopped dating, and he hasn't paid you for the computer.
Right.
That's simple?
Right.
He says he doesn't know what you're talking about. You never bought him a computer. He doesn't know about a computer. Is that right?
Correct.
Interesting. So, how long were you dating before you bought him this computer, and tell me why you did in the first place?
Probably about 4 months I was dating him, and he was over that night, and we had talked about that I might get a computer. And I was on the phone, and he came in, and he says, "Oh, you're ordering a computer?" And I said, "Yeah." He says,
that's not right.
"Could,
Sure.
Do you think I could get one too?" And I said, "Well, I'll ask." So I asked, and she said, "You can buy as many as you want."
Well, where were you ordering these from?
Through my company that I work for.
Were you getting a good deal on them?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
Yes, uh-huh.
Go ahead.
They offered them to the employees only. And she said, yes, I could get as many as I wanted. I said, okay. He says, well, put it on your charge for me, and I'll pay you back next month. Fact is, he says, I'll pay the whole bill off. And I went, shh, wait till I'm done. So I finished ordering 2 computers and got off the phone. He says, yeah, he says, I'll pay the whole bill off. Everything on your bill I'll pay off. Yours and mine and anything else that's on there. He said, I make plenty of money. He said, no problem. And I said, no, you pay what you owe me, I pay my own bills.
How much was the computer that you bought for him?
In the end, by the time we got the, everything on there was $1,943.55. That's what it finally came to.
Okay.
So he comes over and he says, I make $15,000 a month. Here's my check stub, I'll show you. And I looked and I went, whoa. And he says, yeah, I make plenty of money. Don't worry, I'll pay the whole thing. I said, no, just pay your bill. That's all I want. And so the bill came in, and he says, well, the next month, he says, I'm a little short of cash. Can I just make the payment this time? He said, actually, I'll pay it when my tax check comes in. He said, that'll be in the next week. And I said, okay. I said, you know, pay $100 on this. Okay. So
Did he give you $100?
Yes. Yes, he paid me $100.
Well, let me ask you this question. Have the computers been delivered?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they were delivered the next month.
Did you talk to him about his computer?
Oh, yeah. He said, yeah, he liked it. He thought it was great.
What kind was it?
A Micron? Micron, I believe. Here it is, right here.
Okay. And which credit card did you put it on?
My Citibank Visa.
Okay.
There's a little note here that he left tagged on my car after he moved out in the middle of the night in his handwriting saying, I will pay you. He put this on my car. I put the date up there of the day he left it on my car.
Let me have it, please. Yes. I'm listening.
Yes, ma'am. As far as this computer, she'd called me and said she purchased a computer. And as far as another computer, I know nothing about it. I was very shocked on this lawsuit that she served me. I was very shocked. I was very shocked. And the thing I did, I finally had to move because all she did was call me every night. She wanted to pursue this relationship. Hey, I didn't want to hear anything else about it. So I finally had to move because we lived in the same complex. I did not need to hear any more of this
if you
from her.
can't be quiet, you have to leave. Do you understand?
So the only thing I can see is she's very distressed that she couldn't pursue this relationship.
So you think she bought these two computers that are clearly on her bill for somebody else, or maybe she just wanted two computers for herself?
Possibly. As far as that, the only thing I knew, she called me up, she said, oh, I bought a computer. Oh, you did? Okay, fine.
If there would be a copy of a check that you gave her for $100, what would that be for?
It would be for some stamps that I purchased from her for a mail order business that she was going into, that I paid her for.
You are so full of baloney.
Am I?
You are so full of baloney. But you're a very quick thinker.
I'm not full of
You're a very quick thinker. I don't have a check for $100, a copy of a check.
But still,
I just wanted to figure out, to see what your answer would be if you thought I had a copy of a check.
That's what it would have been for.
Oh, God. Must be smoking something real good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
$1,943.55 is what your Visa bill shows. Does very fancy footwork. Ms. Pender, you're very lucky that whoever made the decision that this was not going to be a long-term relationship, whether it was you or whether it was him, whoever it was, you're very lucky.
Yes.
Earth to Mr. Crane. You can't pull the wool over everybody's eyes all the time, sir.
I'm sorry.
What were the interest charges since this purchase was made? His interest charges, we're going to give him credit for the $100, even though he now says it's for stamps.
And also lost wages because same time he moved, his company moved. And it took me 2 days to find out where they were.
You're going to, listen, you're going to chalk that up to experience.
Okay.
All I want to know is the interest. It's $320.
She had a business card all along.
$21.63, right?
Got there.
That's what I got there. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,163.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next...
Parties on Rice versus Gardner. Step forward, please.
18-year-old Audra Sullivan Rice is suing Sarah Gardner, the editor of their high school yearbook, because she says out of jealousy, Sarah deliberately used an ugly photo for her senior portrait.
Order. All rise. Quiet, please. Now, this is case number 268 on the calendar in the matter of Rice versus Gardner. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, please, sir.
You graduated from high school?
Correct.
You were in charge of the high school yearbook?
Correct. The senior section.
Where they put all the pictures of the seniors, and underneath it, you know, most likely to succeed, most likely to have 10 children before 30th birthday, those little things, right? And Miss Rice, you claim in this lawsuit, where you're asking for $3,500, that the defendant caused a very ugly picture of you to be placed in the yearbook. Correct. Not the picture you had selected.
Correct.
And that's because the two of you had some sort of a history together.
Correct.
So tell me about it.
She disliked me due to my relationship with her now ex-boyfriend, who's my witness. And she
I was very jealous, and this is a very malicious and dishonest thing to do, and...
Let me see the picture that she put of you in the yearbook.
This is the picture that was supposed to be in there, and if you notice, it says yearbook selection on the back. And I verified that with the photography studio.
No, that's not such a bad picture in there.
My eyes are half shut. It's not the point that it's like a horrible picture, it's the point that everybody that turns to that picture is going to see me and remember me as that. And that's not what I want. And that wasn't what I asked for.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that I looked at it because I was really picturing something that looked like Quasimodo based upon what you wrote in your complaint. I mean, you're a very pretty young lady. It would be very hard to make you look ugly. I want to tell you something. Truth of the matter is, I sort of like this one better than this one, but that's just my own personal taste. Let's find out what the defense is for putting the picture that she had not selected in the yearbook. Miss Gardner.
Okay. There's about 300 senior pictures that were in my charge. What was supposed to happen is that seniors were supposed to specify which picture they wanted in the yearbook.
Show her the back of that picture.
Either they were to call their photo company.
No. Right. She did that. She did everything she was supposed to do. Miss Gardner, I want you to look at me and tell me whether, when you selected that picture for her, did you get a stack of them from the photographer?
Yes, we got a whole box of envelopes.
Okay. That you took any special care in selecting her picture?
No. There were 3 other individuals that worked with me the first day. Turi, who is my witness, worked with me on the first day, and then there were 2 other individuals who helped me.
You worked with her?
Yes.
Step up here.
And what we did is that the seniors that did specify which picture they wanted,
She did that.
Right. The numbers that did indicate, we pulled those pictures. And
Hers
then,
did.
And then the 3/4 of the seniors who did not specify, we were advised by Mr. Sonemaker to pick the top photo from each envelope.
Okay, but she picked which photo she wanted. It's on the back of her photo, that's the one she picked.
If Mr. Sonemaker had a meeting with her and she specified, he did not let me know. We did divide up the pictures between me and the other 3 individuals that worked with me, and since we were working very fast, no, I don't know who handled Audra's picture.
Do you remember who handled her picture?
No, I going through, it takes you about 2 minutes to do each one, and you don't even look at their names really. You just look to see if the barcode was there. And
now, Miss Rice, other than the fact that you have a history with Miss Gardner over you.
Correct. In which...
What other evidence do you have that she purposely picked the wrong picture to put in your yearbook?
Okay, this is what
here we go.
The process I went through.
I know the process you went through. You picked the right picture. You put the right thing on the back. Just tell me what proof you have that she purposely selected the wrong picture. Do you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Just a minute.
Your Honor, on the last day of school, she was pestering me to get me to sign her yearbook.
Who was?
Miss Gardner. And she said that, "Do you see Audra's picture?" And I said, "Yeah." And she laughed hysterically as if to say that she did it herself. She said, "Ha ha ha, did you see how funny it looked?"
So she just laughed and said, "Did you see her picture?" Don't tell me as if yours in your mind. What she said was, "Did you see Audra's picture?" And she laughed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you do that?
No, I did not. I would like to add that...
Just a minute.
Okay, sorry.
Sure you did. Sure you did. That's exactly what you said to him. Don't give me a lot of baloney.
Can I please add something?
Add it.
Okay, I did not say that to him. I do feel that...
What did you say to him? I'm not interested in what you feel. What did you say to him?
Actually, from what I remember, there was a lot of goofing off. There was other people there. Jacob did run into a fellow who did want to fight him.
What do you remember about the picture?
What do I remember about the picture?
About the conversation about the picture.
There was no conversation about a picture. I feel that he's not a credible witness. I do have a restraining order against this gentleman.
You do?
Yes.
Can I see
right
it?
here?
I also have notes that she wrote displaying her disgust for Audra. This is going to be a quote directly from Sarah. I saw Audra at lunch, and if it weren't for my heavy bag and a cigarette, her ass would have been down. She continues to say about how upset she is, and then she says, I don't really mind. It's not you that I care about and don't want to hurt, it's them.
Let me see the restraining order. Curious about this. He looks like butter would melt in his mouth, right? Why did you get an order of protection against him?
I was being stalked. There were times when he's tried to strangle me. Coming to my house late at night, I felt very unsafe.
And you had a hearing on this, a trial?
Yes, I did.
Were you represented by an attorney at this trial?
He did not show up.
I was in Utah.
What were you doing in Utah?
I went on a road trip with my parents.
You mean you knew you had a court date and you didn't show up? That requires an answer, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
That was pretty stupid. That was pretty stupid. How old are you?
18.
Did you tell your parents you had a court date?
Yeah, when we were in Utah.
Oh, the more I spend time with you, the more I love my children.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I believe, no matter what you tell me, that you selected a picture of her different from the one that she had selected just to give her an old zinger.
And later today.
Well, he didn't give us much of a chance really to get out of the way. He used his car as a battering ram.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 18-year-old Audra Sullivan Rice is suing her classmate and editor of their high school yearbook, Sarah Gardner, claiming Sarah deliberately selected an ugly photo for her senior portrait. Sarah claims it wasn't her job to pick the photos.
The picture of you in the yearbook isn't terrible. As a matter of fact, I think I like it a little bit better than the one you selected. I do, however, think that there was some design to get that picture in there. It just seems too coincidental to me that she's in charge of the yearbook, she can't stand you, you pick a picture and a different picture goes in there, right? And there's all just too much coincidence that doesn't sit comfortably with me. But if she picked the wrong picture, truth of the matter is, I think she picked a better one. So I don't think you should be that discouraged, okay? And Miss Gardner, there's a certain thing about misusing your authority. If anything, you should have been far more careful about selecting her picture as making sure it was the right picture.
Right, but there was no specification.
Oh, yes, there was. You keep saying there was no specification, and I'm telling you.
There were a lot of seniors who did come to my attention that they did specifically pick a picture, and then they
look at the back of the picture. Would you hand her the picture? I don't want them to touch each other. Right? What does that say back there?
Actually, I did not.
I didn't ask you what you see. I asked you what it said back there.
Yearbook selection.
Okay. Bottom line is, I believe, no matter what you tell me, that you selected a picture of her different from the one that she had selected just to give her an old zinger. The fact that you happen to have picked one that wasn't terrible and that I really think is much nicer is really not the issue. It's not, you're not damaged $3,500 worth, madam.
What I wanted to
You're not damaged $3,000 by this photograph. You're damaged maybe a lesson. So what's a lesson? Lesson is $100, Bird.
That's good.
$100 for the plaintiff, that's all.
Party's ice cream. You may step out.
And now the next case.
Party's on Gorman versus Siemens. Step forward, please.
Mike Gorman says, while attempting to retrieve a package during a UPS strike, picketer Don Siemens pounded his sign on the hood of his car, causing severe damage.
All right, Mr. Gorman, you were expecting an important package that was to arrive, unfortunately, during the UPS strike.
That's correct.
And you had to go and pick that package up at the warehouse, correct?
Yes.
Your complaint alleges that when you went there, the defendant was one of the strikers, he was online, and he damaged your car.
That's correct.
You want to tell me what happened, please?
Yes, actually, I made arrangements to have the package shipped to me by FedEx because of...
Listen, sir, I got other cases to do today.
I understand.
At some point, you had to go and pick up your package at the UPS warehouse.
That's correct.
You're in your car.
I'm in my car.
And you're driving there.
Yes.
And what do you see?
The strikers were blocking the returning trucks, and I circled the block numerous times until the police finally arrived. I went in with the returning trucks, picked up my package, and when I left, I knew it was going to be trouble. And several of the strikers were marching very close and impeding my exit. And they started jumping on the front of my car and on the trunk. They were pounding on the windows, cursing at me, chanting slogans. I inched along, and the police finally came over and removed the people on my car. Mr.
They were actually on your car?
Oh, yes, ma'am. At least 8 of them.
Okay.
On the front and the back. And Mr. Siemens was the last to be removed. And when he exited, he took his sign and pounded it into my hood. And I immediately stopped the car, and the police separated us, and he went over and took our names and information.
What was the cost of the damage to your car?
Approximately $500.
You have the bill?
I do.
All right, Mr. Siemens.
I think he's living in a fantasy world. I can't believe this.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you interrupting me? Two people can't talk at the same time. And when my mouth is moving, you have to be quiet.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mike Gorman is suing UPS worker Don Siemens for damaging his car with a picket sign during a strike. Don says he was only trying to get out of the way when Mike drove through the picket line, nearly running him over.
You're on strike.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
You're circling.
We were walking the sidewalk there, yes, back and forth.
So tell me what happened.
Well, he didn't give us much of a chance really to get out of the way. He used his car as a battering ram and knocked us, some of us out of the way, myself onto the hood, and trying to get off of the hood the best I could. I guess my sign hit his car somehow.
What were you doing in front of his car?
Well, we were on the picket line.
No, what were you, not wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What were you doing?
I'm sorry.
Listen, you're walking around with a sign, Mr. Siemens.
Back
you
and forth.
see his car. You have several choices. You can either move to the side and make way for him to leave.
He didn't give us enough time, Your Honor. No, he didn't, honest. There was about 20 of us out there, 15 to 20 of us. And he hit 5 or 6 of us. Jason was there to contest it.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Sure.
Okay, we were ordered by our union to go on strike. We're all in front of the building striking. The plaintiff comes, he did not even slow down. He almost hit 3 of us when he was coming in, did not slow down. I don't know where he's getting this, I inched in, inched out. He didn't do anything. Okay, so when he's coming out, we have more people come out to block him because this is ridiculous, the fact that he came in and almost ran us over. I mean, we're pedestrians.
Just a second.
All right.
You just said a very important thing, sir. You said you had a lot more people out there to block him. That's what you just said.
Right. Well, we set up...
Just a sec. Hey, that's exactly what he said, sir. He said there were people blocking him, cursing at him. Right? Mr. Cronky.
We were telling him to stop.
You were telling him to stop what?
Because I was right in front of his car, and we were telling him to stop because he was running me over. His bumper was pushing right into my legs.
Why didn't you just walk away, Mr. Cronky?
Because he was already running into me at the time, Your Honor.
No, Mr. Cronky. My recollection of the UPS strike was that there were managers driving the trucks, correct?
Well, while the policemen were there.
Yes, is that correct?
Yes, management.
And is it also correct that they were being heckled, for want of a better term, as the trucks were going in and out?
We were just stopping them from doing their course of business. We were setting up a picket line.
You were stopping them?
Yes. We were not
from going into their building.
Isn't that the whole purpose of a picket line?
Yes.
Isn't that the purpose of a picket line?
Just
No, sir.
We're disrupting.
No, sir. That's not the purpose of a picket line. Let me ask you this question, sir. Do you believe that if this gentleman was going to pick up his package and he had a clear path to go
He didn't have
into...
a clear path, Your Honor.
Are you interrupting me? Two people can't talk at the same time. And when my mouth is moving, you have to be quiet. Do you think that if this man, who was doing nothing more than going to pick up his package, got there, saw your picket line, and there was a path for him to go in, pick up his package, and come out, we would be standing here today? No.
He went in about 30 miles an hour also into the driveway. And on the way out, there were more pickets for him to go through. What right does that give him to run into us, Your Honor?
I don't believe, sir, that he ran into you. I believe that you were blocking him.
Why?
That's what he just said. They brought out a whole bunch of other people to block him.
I believe
That's what your witness just said to me, Mr. Siemens.
We walked back and forth the street. That's what a picket line's for.
I believe at the time I was a pedestrian, an automobile hit me. Is there something right with that?
That's what you believe?
Yeah, what right
That's what you believe? How many people were out there on the picket line by the time he came out?
Approximately 20.
Okay, so there are 20 people, and he's one person in his car. Do you think that that's intimidating with people yelling and screaming and cursing? You think that that's intimidating? You can't tell me that you weren't yelling at the people who were going into...
No, ma'am.
Mr. Siemens.
We were not yelling.
He wasn't there for any other purpose than to pick up his package.
We had no
and
idea.
run over a few people. That's all right.
Well, run over a few
people. Them the right to run over, to hit us.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
You have no right to inhibit him from going to pick up his package in any way. What if it contained insulin for his baby that he needed? You didn't give a damn. It didn't make any difference. What was in this package?
Excuse me.
It could have been penicillin, it could have been a heart transplant, it could have been anything else. The fact that it was, what was it, computer equipment or something?
It was an item I needed for my business.
Your business was impeding business as usual for UPS. That's a legitimate thing to do as far as a strike is concerned, letting people know you're on strike, that you have a grievance. He's an individual citizen and he has a right to go and pick up his property. And if he chooses to go through your picket line, he chooses to do that. That's his choice. And you have no right to impede that. You owe him $461.85, which was the cost to fix his car. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on
Sandoval versus Gentry. Step forward, please.
25-year-old Rich Sandoval says his former girlfriend, Sandy Gentry, 23, falsely led him to believe that he was the father of her child. When he discovered he was not the father, he filed a $5,000 suit claiming emotional distress.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 261 on the calendar in the matter of Sandoval versus Gentry. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, please.
All right. Mr. Sandoval, according to your papers, sir, you and the defendant dated briefly and were romantically involved, were sexually intimate.
Yes.
And there came a time when you broke up.
Yes.
And during that time, you were pregnant, had a baby. Is that right?
Yes.
And you called him and told him that you would have the baby.
Yes. Yeah.
And invited him to come over to see the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what you said to him?
Yes, when we were at my house, I had told him that I had been with another person, but I was pretty sure that he had been the father because I had used a condom with the other guy that I was with. So I let him know straight up that I had been with another guy. So.
Did she tell you that, sir?
No.
Hmm? She never told you that?
No, she did not.
That doesn't make sense, madam, that you would tell him that when you invite him over to see the baby and say, listen, this could be yours and it couldn't be yours. In any event, she told you that the baby was yours?
That's correct.
And at that time, according to these papers, you weren't living close to each other.
That's correct.
Where were you living, sir?
I was living in Stockton with my mother.
And where were you living?
I was living in Hayward with my parents.
And how far is that away?
About 50 miles.
And you moved?
Yes, I moved to be near the child.
Did you take an apartment?
I rented a house with my friend.
And you were visiting the baby?
Yes.
How often?
About at least 3 times a week.
Would you go over to her parents' house?
Yes, I would.
Is that right?
I did.
A couple times, yes.
So he would come over and visit with the baby. Were you present when he visited with the baby?
Yes.
Did you hold the baby?
Yes, I did.
Did you feed the baby?
Yes, I did.
Did he?
Yes.
Did you take the baby out?
Yes, I did. Sometimes with her, sometimes away from her.
And for how long did this go on?
From the time she was about 3.5 weeks till she was about 5.5 months.
So for 5.5 months, for 5 months, you spent a lot of time with the baby.
Yes.
And then there came a time when you were called into court for child support.
No, that's not true.
What happened?
I initiated court proceedings against her because she would not give me any access to the child whatsoever.
Well, what happened that stopped this free flow of visitation that you had?
We began having problems arguing over money and things because she didn't think that I was trying hard enough to look for work.
So you were arguing over something?
Yes.
Did there come a time when you told him that he wasn't to see the baby anymore?
Yes, he was harassing me at work. He kept calling me. I told him not to call me in case of emergency. He called me anyway, over and over again.
What would he call you about?
What are you doing? I'm at work. I'm working, you know?
Yes.
And as I said, you know, just please call me, you know, if there's an emergency, and he would call me just any time.
Well, what did that have to do with the baby?
He would go over the babysitter's house. You know, she asked him to call first. He wouldn't call first. He just started showing up over there. It's just, it's just a bunch of things that just came down to it. I don't...
So you told him that he couldn't see the baby anymore. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So you went to court.
Yes, I did.
And when you went to court, you had a blood test.
Yes, and it excluded me.
And the blood test said that you could not possibly be the biological father of this child.
That's correct.
And then what happened, sir? Because that's not the only thing that you're suing her for, the fact that she misled you.
I got served papers at my aunt's house in March, on March 20th, and I received the papers by April.
And that was the state calling you into court for child support.
Correct.
Because you had listed his name as the father.
And the welfare department, they have you put down...
No, listen to me. Just answer my question.
Yes.
You had listed his name as the father.
And the other guy also. They have you put down whoever the father could be on a child support paper. And so, you know, you put down both of them and they go from there.
So you were called into court again, sir?
Yes. And I was told that they would start detaching my wages, taking my taxes. And I sent them copies of this paternity test, and I mean, they wouldn't hear it. They said because there was 2 parties that took the test that I had to resubmit it again.
So you took the test again?
Yes, I did.
And it again excluded you?
Yes, correct.
Did you have to pay for the blood test?
The second one? No, I did not.
Did you have to pay for the first one?
Yes, I did.
How much did you have to pay for the first one?
I believe it was $440.
Did you have to pay for a lawyer?
No, I represented myself completely.
Did you have any other expenses, sir, as a result of this proceeding? Out-of-pocket expenses?
Out of my pocket?
Yes.
Court fees?
How much were the court fees?
$370.
Anything else?
No.
Now, for my own information, Miss Gentry, what happened when they blood tested the other man who you claimed that you named?
They're still trying to find him.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So as painful as it is right now to you, taught you a very good lesson. You want to fool around? Cover up.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 25-year-old Rich Sandoval says when a court-ordered paternity test proved he was not the father of Sandy Gentry's baby, he sued for emotional stress. Sandy says she made an honest mistake and is being harassed by Mr. Sandoval.
You working now?
No, I'm not.
Why not?
I'm trying to establish where I'm living and, you know, I'm trying to get a job, yes.
Where were you working before?
Just odd jobs through a temp agency.
So why did you stop working?
Because I just couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't handle him. He came to my work, or someone came to my work, and I just couldn't take the harassment anymore.
What harassment?
From him. And just couldn't take it anymore. What was going on?
Well, explain to me what was going on, Miss Gentry. I don't understand what was going on.
Well, just he would harass me, and he would...
That's a conclusion. How did he harass you?
He would call me, he would threaten me.
How did he threaten you?
He threatened me and my friend over the phone.
What did he say, madam?
That he was, if I didn't watch out, I was going to be shot, things like that. I don't...
Did you ever say that to her? You know, the problem, Miss Gentry, is when a court gets the impression that somebody's a liar, they question everything that they say. Now, you told this man that he was the father of this child. He believed you.
I did tell him that there was another guy, that there was a possibility that the other guy might have been the father, but...
I don't believe that. It doesn't strike me as being accurate, madam, that you gave him any suggestion whatsoever that this was not his child, because if you did, it is unlikely that he would have left his mother's house and moved to be closer to the baby, that he would have gone over and spent days with this baby, bonding with this baby, feeding her according to you, holding her, taking her out, taking her to... You're his mother?
Yes.
Did he used to bring the baby to your house?
Yes.
Visiting a grandmother, getting this whole family involved with this baby. If you had said to him, listen, there's a chance the baby's not yours, doesn't make sense. That's why I think you're a liar. And I think you're a liar when you say that he threatened to shoot you. And I do. I do.
I have my witness right here.
Oh, yes, step up.
Yeah.
Step up. Let me hear your witness. Who are you?
I'm Gina.
Gina what?
Gina Ito.
How do you know her?
My brother is dating her. And
your brother's dating her?
Uh-huh. Another
genius.
Through the times that she moved out of her mother's house and was living with me for a while.
What was she living with you for?
To get back on her feet.
But was she dating your brother at the time?
Uh-huh.
What do you want to tell me about these threats, madam? You have anything to tell me firsthand?
For threats, yeah, he has called. He said, you better watch your back. I will get you.
Okay. And under what circumstance did he say that to you?
He called up.
Called up for what?
For no reason. Harassing. He called up for no reason.
Was this child living in your house?
Yes, she was.
Sit down. Listen, Mr. Sandoval.
Yes.
When you had sexual relations with this lady, did you use protection?
No, I didn't.
Dumb.
I know.
Very dumb. You almost deserve what you get if you don't use protection. You know?
True.
What you got was a story that you had a child, but you could have gotten was a lot worse.
That's correct.
Right?
Yes.
And I think she's as manipulative as can be, because she let you see the baby, then she stopped you from seeing the baby, she found a new boyfriend, she moved out of her mother's house, her mother probably was fed up with her, she moved into the sister's house of the boyfriend. Sounds to me as if your baby's going to need a lot of luck. Baby's got a father who's off someplace else. We don't know who he is right now. We're in the third relationship that I know about. Him, the one who's in the wind, who maybe is the father, and this new boyfriend. So what are you suing for, sir?
I'm suing for loss of wages from when I left in February up until present time now.
Now listen.
The cost that it took me to relocate from my mother's house to move down there to be near this child.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What you're saying, it does not sound logical. And if it doesn't sound logical, to me, it didn't happen.
And later today,
there are blue chip stocks to invest in if you want to invest your money. Rave parties are not smart. Got it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
You're suing her for a lot of money. You want $5,000 in damages. And I don't think that there's probably any way that you're going to get $5,000, but I think she certainly has to pay you for every bit of out-of-pocket expenses that you have, plus something for punitive damages, because I think that she caused you a great deal of heartache.
Yes, she did.
You're shaking your head no?
I just don't understand why you don't believe that I didn't tell him that.
Why don't I believe it? It's not logical. You used him for the first few months until you found somebody else. And when you found somebody else, that's her brother, then you decided to cut him off. And when you decided to cut him off because you were too busy with another social event in your life, then he started to call and he wanted to see the baby, you were cutting him off, so he was forced at that point to go to the family court to establish his parental rights and establish visitation. That all sounds very, very logical, and what you're saying does not sound logical. And if it doesn't sound logical, to me, it didn't happen. The truth of the matter is, Mr. Sandoval, it was a good thing that she stopped you from seeing the baby, because you could have gone on for 5 years.
That's correct.
Been paying all kinds of child support, allowed to further bond with this baby, and you would never have known that she wasn't yours. You could have gone on for 20 years, and all of a sudden you needed a blood transfusion. You take her blood, and they say to you, sorry, this baby that you've loved for 20 years really isn't yours. So as painful as it is right now to you, it was only 5 months worth of pain at your age, and taught you a very good lesson. You want to fool around? Cover up. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back, go to your right, please.
I guess he just wants money. I don't know what he wants.
No, justice. There's a difference.
Whatever.
And now the next case.
All parties on Light versus Betts. Step forward, please.
Nancy Light is suing Ann Betts on behalf of her 2 children, 17-year-old Alexis and 15-year-old Aaron. Alexis and Aaron claim they invested $600 in a rave dance concert. They say they got ripped off and want their money back.
Who is Alexis?
That'd be me.
And you are how old?
I'm 17.
You're her mom?
Yeah.
And her brother?
Yeah.
Why don't the two of you sit down for a moment and just leave Alexis right here?
All right.
According to these papers, you were planning a rave party.
Yes.
Is that pronounced correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to tell me what that is in a minute. And the plaintiff invested $600 in this party, and she received for her $600 $250 at the party's conclusion. She's suing you for the rest. Is that right?
Correct.
So who's going to tell me first what a rave party is?
It's an all-ages, non-alcoholic dance event. It's music that usually we bring lighting and sound in, and goes from 8 p.m. until 6 or 7 a.m. Spend anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 on a party, and it's to provide like all ages of children with things to do, kids and adults. And it's not a club scene; it's not an alcoholic thing.
Is that what you do for a living? Plan these parties?
No, it's just an extra thing that I do.
Okay. What prompted you to solicit funds from somebody who was a minor?
She wanted to invest in the party.
How did you know her?
She comes to parties.
Is that what happened?
We were friends. We were somewhat close friends going into this, and I guess March before the party, she asked my brother and I, actually my brother first, if he would like to invest, which was more like a loan, not really an investment. It was a loan that we would be getting paid back, because she knew that my mom was weary about letting us loan her this money because it's a large investment.
And according to your answer, at least, your defense to this lawsuit is twofold, right? You say, one, the party didn't make enough money, and second, because she's a minor, you couldn't enter into a valid contract with her.
Well, we didn't have anything in writing. It was an investment, and when you make money, you make. When you lose, you lose.
I have a written statement here from Ann that was given to me the night after the party. I don't know, do you want to see this, or do you want me to read it to you, what it says?
Is that something you wrote to her?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Well, read me the pertinent part.
It will only take a few weeks of busting overtime and work and living clean, and you'll have my word. You'll have my word that I will have your money back ASAP. I am only sorry things didn't work out any easier. I will pay every penny back plus some interest. Thank you so much for your help and participation. Sincerely, Ann.
Sound familiar?
Yes.
So what happened?
Well, the other guy who was involved in the party stole about $3,000 from the party, and I was forced to pay back all the investment, which was like, he didn't pay any of it back, and I've paid all of it back but about $200. And since this has been written, I only owe them $200 now. There's another $150 that, of course, wasn't receipted, but she knows that I gave it to her after the last event.
Yeah, she did.
So that all she owes you now is $200?
Yeah.
All right.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Miss Betts, I wanted to find out what this rave party was, and I wanted to find out what your story was. Bottom line is, your second premise to in defense of this lawsuit is wholly 100% incorrect under the law. When you enter into a contract with a minor, you do so at your own peril. You knew she was a minor, that she is incapable of entering into a valid contract, whether it be an investment or a loan. Therefore, anyone who enters into a contract with a minor, there is no contract. That money has to be paid back to her, because dealing with her, even though she's pretty smart, pretty savvy, and she sounds like she doesn't take any baloney from anybody, it's no different dealing with her than it would be dealing with someone who was 8 years old in the eyes of the law. So you couldn't go over to somebody, an 8-year-old who was running a lemonade stand on the corner and say, would you like to invest $25 in my rave party? You can't do that. So you owe her the $200. Be smart. You have to learn something before you involve yourself in business.
Well, yeah. I trusted her, though, and that's
It's not a question of trust. It's a question of knowing what you know. At your age, you don't know a lot. Right?
Right.
You don't know a lot. You don't know a lot about business. You don't know a lot about people. Your mother probably does. But you don't.
She knows a lot.
That's why the law protects children from sometimes unscrupulous people who prey on young children to take their money out of their savings account, to take their money out of their piggy bank, to take their money out of their college fund, and invest in all kinds of harebrained schemes. They're a blue chip.
NANI?! お前はもう死んでいる。